Welcome. We gather here together to train our hearts and minds on a place and a time kin to our own. Cursed, it seems, to succumb to their own desperate and tragic end. They call, and we hear them. They are hurt, and we accept their pain. They are at their end, and we will carry them on in our memory. Bear witness to the voices from the Umbra. Introducing the Green Thumb.
This message joins the other messages, the ones that have been left around, the ones that push the mind, the ones that can tear apart what has been built. Carolyn and I left the first few.
Big red, no preacher needed.
Right there on the overpass. Right where I delivered my speeches. We pretended to be hurt and withdrawn because of that. The doctor bought it enough to put sympathy in his voice. It's a start.
The next one we did was the word weakness.
Sprayed a dozen times or so on the side of the school. Right next to all the burn marks. Much harder. More people. Chances to be seen, to be caught. But I trust Carol Ann and she tells me when it's safe. Meetings happen almost every day now. There's more anger in them. It's not invited, of course. They still don't know who truly rules them. I just hear the raised voices and I listen to the gossip when I pass the odd group of people. I'm not the only one leaving messages now. People are getting restless. The last piece was really inspired. They're getting better, I think. Red octagon used to mean stop.
Now it says hunger.
Black and red paint. Hung a couple dead squirrels on it by their tails. Dramatic. I don't know what they'll think when they wake up and see this one, but I don't have to know what happens in their minds. Carol Ann reassures me of that. I just have to keep turning up the heat, keep adding pressure. I can see why they're feeling so tense. Food is hard to come by. I have my secret stashes here and there, safe, not all in one location. Smart. Like that. But even I'm feeling the hunger. Winter is not a good time to be skin and bones. Not anymore. Carol Ann has more ideas, more things to paint, more chaos to create. The invaders could have listened to me from the first day they arrived. I spoke to them from the overpass, where now there is no preachers needed. They should have listened. This message is intended for anything. Why bother when nobody listens? Well, you'll see soon. Everybody will hear our words soon. This message is intended for the hunting party out in the city. Good luck. Be safe.
And if you're smart, you won't be back.
They eventually had to draw straws for it. That's how far the cowardice has spread. Couldn't even find 5 volunteers. Pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. 2 men, 3 women. A couple of them have spouses, but nobody has children. That was a big point of contention. something not even started by Caroline and I. Nobody with children had to draw. No parents would have to go. When one man was chosen, he said, "And now I risk my life for these people I hate, simply because my son didn't make it to see what trash you've become." Cracks can be seen. They're no longer one huddled mass, several small groups, fractals. Everything is beginning to spiral. There was a ceremony. The hunting party left. They walked across the overpass while the rest of us gathered underneath. Symbolic. At least it was meant to be. Less than half of the people showed up. You can hardly ever make out which messages is ours on the overpass anymore. Early on we heard shots from the rifles they took. Not anymore. They're supposed to work their way down the eastern part of the city, heading south. Wide streets, big stores, good sight lines, plenty of ways to run, if running needs to be done. Who's to say that's what they'll do, though? Caroline had suggested I should be going through houses to find a gun. People are too unpredictable.
Too crazy.
The winter and the lack of everything, right down to their hope for the future. It's starting to look for a place to die. Tonight. This message is intended for tonight. What happened? Everything was fine, and then...
It's dark early. Hallmark of winter. I didn't even see the kid at first. If he had run, he'd have probably gotten away, taking me by surprise.
Apparently one of my little hidey holes for my food has been discovered. I'm not sure how. Dumb luck, maybe. Kids fucking around with fireplaces just happen to get lucky. Find a stash. Bad luck for me. Good luck for the kid. And bad luck for both of us.
He froze when he saw me. I froze when I saw him.
Neither of us knew what was happening. I grabbed his hair. A strange reflex.
He had bulges in his pockets. We started laying out his bounty on the floor. Not a little, a lot. And at the end of it all,
a lighter. When that lighter came out,
all I saw was a movie behind my eyes, blackening, unable to cry out, unable to call to help.
When the movie stopped playing in my head, I looked back down. The hand holding his hair was flecked with red. More dripped on the floor. Still more ran down the brick on the fireplace. And I knew I had a problem. On top of the gas station island, for now. Lying in a frozen remnants of the doctor's friend. He'll be frozen too, soon.
Bodies lose heat so quickly in the winter. Especially the small ones.
This message is intended for the boy's grieving mother. Thank you for the small smile. The one you gave me as I volunteered for the search party. It's the first time anybody but Carol Ann has smiled at me in a very long time. A lot of heads turned when I did that. Most people were probably just surprised to see. At the meeting, we're not very public. This was just unprecedented. After I pledged to do my part and look for the lost child, I heard a pupil cough. Even before muttered to each other. But the boy's mother smiled at me. It was small, but it was there.
Our piece to walk is the tracks, smack dab on top between the rails as far as I feel comfortable. Find a landmark, then back in. I thought about just walking, not stopping. The thought came to me unbidden, like the urge to jump when looking down from a bridge. They both end the same way, enjoying the view. The tracks took me over the overpass and to the outskirts of Lincoln, where it meets the farm, dusted in white, overgrown and frozen in time. The skies are so clear. It makes me wonder what happened to the drifters. How do they handle the cold? The blobs aren't much affected. Just another mystery. Nobody really believes we'll find the kid. Not really. And every hour they don't, hope just drains away. It'd be better if anybody gave up now. It'd save them the headache and heartache. I did a lot of jogging to cover my patch in good time. I can't be gone too long. The doctor was given the middle highway patch. The gas station is in that patch. I hit the ladder, but there's always a chance he'll peek up there where he shouldn't. Carol Ann said it, and I have to agree with her, she said. It's the not knowing that's the worst.
This message is intended for the boy's mother. It's time to give up for your sake.
Introducing the Animalist.
All this time, it seems like the change was on the outside. I wasn't changing. The world was changing. The puppy was changing. Life was changing.
And then I woke up one day and I realized I wouldn't recognize myself even if I had a reason to.
I don't know who I am now. And I don't really remember who I used to be. I'd like to think I'd be able to... What's that? How do you say it? That I'd be able to pick myself out of a lineup, but who knows? Maybe not. It's getting better. Slowly. We're more of a team now. Spend less time fighting each other. The nausea is almost completely gone, and my back is slowly getting used to the weight hanging off me. Our minds don't grab control from each other, but hand it back and forth, willingly. Most of the time. Sometimes we're even able to both be in control at once. That's not to say there aren't still...
Issues? Problems?
There's a... How do I want to put this? A cold violence in my life. In me. Part of me. A lack of empathy. You don't think that with dogs so much, but insects are not dogs. And both are not people. It's just a lot to get used to. And that's coming from me. Me, with my little therapy sessions, with my own violence, but mine is a hot violence, which makes it better, I'd argue. It's passion, it's release, it's power, it's domination, putting this world underneath me to remind myself I can still handle it. The cold violence feels like that wasp that stings a spider and lays its eggs in it. I remember, damn, why is this memory so clear? I remember this substitute teacher in like 6th grade. Fucking asshole. Thought he was just... Never mind, that doesn't matter. But he showed a video about an evil fucking wasp that stings a spider, gets in this fight with it, stings it, paralyzes it, and then just inserts its eggs into its... I don't know what to call it. It's
juicy torso bits.
I know this seems weird, well, with everything I've got going on, but still, that's gross. That's just downright gross. So then, the wasp buries the spider and just fucks off, right? But the spider is still alive because bugs spoil really fast when they die, so it needs to be alive and fresh for when the eggs hatch. I mean, for fuck's sake. That's cold violence. That wasp never thinks about that spider again. Meanwhile, the thing is just laying underneath the sand. Can't move, can't see, can't do a damn thing. Not even smart enough to hope that it dies soon. Just trying to move and failing. 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 And then, all of a sudden, that spider feels something it's never felt before. Something its instinct-based brain can't even conceive of. That feeling is dozens and dozens of wasp larvae hatching out of their eggs and doing the only thing that the larvae can do. Every single one of those wasps is born like that. And the luckiest day of those wasps' lives are when they get to repeat that same cycle. Over and over
and over.
That's cold violence. That's the kind of thing that takes a little getting used to and having in your head. But it's getting better. Slowly. With so much of the day-to-day taken care of, I find myself living in the future more. Let's start it out close. Where will we be going next? Where are we likely to find supplies? What looks like it'll be the easiest route? But it's been getting steadily longer. How will we find the man? Dead? Alive? What exactly are we going to do when we eventually find him? What if he's almost dead, but not quite? What if he's violent? What if he's crazy? How will he deal with all of this? But even that seems so close compared to what really needs to be thought about. The real future, next year, the next 5, the next 10. Hell, if I keep going like I'm going, I'll be walking through this world at 50. And I'd better have a plan for what to do when I get to that point. Little side note here. I have been wondering about my lifespan. Dogs don't live as long as people, and bugs certainly don't live as long as dogs, and I don't know what the hell to even describe us as. What are us? What am I? I am something new. Something new that doesn't know how long it's got on this rock, which, let's be honest, is a pretty common thing. Even way back when. Part of me wants a plan. Another part of me, a big part of me, wonders what the point is. I can think back, not easily, but I can. And I don't remember any of this being on my 5-year plan 5 years ago. When something like this, well, this has happened, it makes you wonder about making plans. Live in the now, live for today. It's the only thing you can do. It's the only way to happiness. And yet, if I were to try and do that, there'd be nothing of me left. Just a transport system for a conjoined set of minds that I would be lost inside. My plans give me purpose. They're my input, my contribution. So I plan. I think, I imagine. And one thing I definitely imagine is that if you are going to be taken care of at 50 or 60 or at whatever point you get feeble enough to start being a danger to yourself in this time, this place, you'll either need love or power. And unfortunately, I think the choices I've made are going to make it hard for many people to love me. Which only leaves one option. And thanks to those same choices, I have a bit of an advantage in that area. And so I sit. And I think. And I plan my future because that's where I live now. Everybody decorates where they live, don't they? The bank was empty. Thought maybe I guided us to the wrong one, but I recognized it. Even through all the eyes, I recognized it. It was spotless behind the counter, just like it was before I placed him there. Which doesn't necessarily mean he's alive, but it does make it a lot more likely. I'm not sure how I feel about this. If he was dead, at least there'd be some sort of closure. I wouldn't have this loose thread to keep pulling at again and again and again. If he's alive, that leaves the most possibilities, the most unknown to deal with. I definitely know how my other half feels about this. I wasn't quite prepared for it. The anger. I don't know what was expected, or what's missing now. I didn't know we all had such a large stake in this. He might also just be a blob. I've seen a few around here, though they don't seem too interested in me. He might be part of one of them. I'd never recognize him like that, not unless I really studied, and that requires a level of control that I'm not sure I possess right now. The rage carries through the body much easier than the thoughts do. The thoughts are relatively separate for the most part. The emotions, though, especially from a simpler organism, they're so pure. It's just hard to handle. Oh, I guess I should mention. The scratching moved from my arms to my neck, knowing what comes after, or at least what did last time.
It's difficult not to fixate on that.
It seems like I have control of my limbs only to a certain extent. I can use a hand to record this because it's not being used for anything else, but I'm sure if it was needed, it
could be taken from me too.
I don't know why this is happening. I don't know what I did wrong. I thought that we would meld, become a new whole. Instead, it just seems like a, what do you call it? Like a hierarchy. And I keep getting pushed further and further to the side. I don't know if the proboscis in my neck ever stops pumping fluid anymore. None of my questions are answered. I don't know if I have a companion to share my mind with or a parasite, and now it's too late. Everything is problems, and all I can do is think about them constantly. All I can do is think, and suggest. Try not to drown in the rage. And hope. Would you look at that? Would you just look at that? A poster. Shocking.
Gone north to find love or die trying.
That's got a good rhythm to it. He's getting better at making posters. Practice makes perfect, I guess, and he's sure had a ton of practice. You know, now that I look at it, yeah. And on the next post too. And the one further down in that tree over there, but they're all different.
Gone north to ruin lives and hurt people. Gone north to chase dreams and see the world. Gone north to find an end to everything. Gone north to make feelings happen. Gone north to run away from everything that I am.
That wreck must have really screwed up his head. I figured it'd just give him an aneurysm or a stroke or something like that, not screw up his mind like this. That's worrying. Not because I particularly care about the man's mind, but because things tend to get a little more dangerous as they get crazier. If you need any proof, look at me. The other minds that are swirling around within my brain are anxious to follow. Those hunting instincts are sharp. But unfortunately for them, they need my help. They don't know North. They can't necessarily tell the right posters from the wrong ones. I suppose it feels good to be useful in this arrangement somehow. For more than just my body. Our body now, I suppose. I think the skin where it attached to me is dissolving underneath it. I think the claws are starting to grow around the ribs that hook into it. It feels like that. It feels like Something is curling around my bones, like the leading tip of some strange vine wrapping around a tree limb. I don't think there's any hope for a happy life anymore. Not just for those of us here in the Midwest, but for anybody. I think every day is a bad day now, and if it's not, you're probably screwed up even for now. And just like before, we're back to following posters. So similar and yet different. It's enough to make me want to scream. Instead,
I think I'll just start walking.
Introducing the homebody.
What's a gift that says, I'm a terrible person, but if you'd like to continue being around me, I sure would appreciate it? Normally I'd say flowers, but all that's around are wildflowers on thistles, and I don't know. There's a sort of homemade charm to it, I guess, but it's just not right. I really think walking is the way to go about this. I started out in my new vehicle figuring I could cover more ground in a hurry that way, but then I thought, well, it's not like Janice is going to stick to the highways and roads the whole time. I can't expect that. So I ditched it and grabbed my supplies, and here I am. A walking man. The walking dude. Searching for love at the end of the world. Ruining days wherever he goes, like the champion that he is. No. God damn it. No, I said I was going to stop that. That negativity. That's not going to help a damn thing. I'm on the road, letting my heart guide me, and I'm not going to have my judgment clouded with a bunch of negative crap. I'll find them. I'll find them and explain. I'll find them and I'll explain, and they'll accept it because they'll see how truthful and open I'm being, how accepting just putting myself out there. Do what you want to me, it doesn't matter. And then they'll hold their arms out to me, and I'll push myself into them, and all the barriers will just dissolve, and we'll be one, and everything will be fine. I chose north because we left things closer on that side of town, and I chose east because Janice was a bit of a morning type and used to love to turn all the little face pieces to the sun. And so I split the difference and am heading northeast. It feels good. Feels right. I'm leaving posters along the way, too, just in case I get a bit too intense and overshoot Janice by a little bit or something. They'll at least know I'm looking. They'll see it, and they'll know. I don't want to pat myself on the back or anything, but this feels destined somehow. A quest. It's not enough to prove I love Janice in the comfort of the town. Can I love them in the harshness of the world? That's the real test.
And I was never good at tests.
But I'm not thinking like that anymore. Keep my head down, put up my posters, look for Janice. So simple, even I can't screw this one up. I've always gone through life with the idea that if you know, you know. Well, when I laid my eyes on this thing here, I knew. I almost missed it. Almost let my eyes go right over it, but not quite. It's so fitting. It's perfect. It's perfect. A flag. Like a grown-up version of my posters. It's simple, it's beautiful, it's just perfect.
A smile in blue on a big white background.
I've never seen a flag like it before. I don't really think it's an organization or anything. I mean, it could be, but not one I've ever heard of. Seems like somebody just really wanted a smiling flag. A smiling flag in blue and white. And you know what?
Good for them. They made a hell of a choice. I gotta hand it to them. It's not on a pole, which is gonna make this a little harder. It's hung from the branch of a tree like a big banner. Whoever did it really wanted to show it off, and I don't know how in the hell. I mean, if I had a big old ladder and another handy guy to hold on to it, maybe, but I don't know. Even then, I could climb it, I suppose. People do that. Well, people did that. Climb trees. Not usually at my age, but it's not the worst tree in the world to climb. And come to think of it, it probably shouldn't be easy. This is a quest. This is a quest for love. And if quests for love were easy, then they wouldn't be so meaningful. No, this is a challenge. And I'm going to win. I'm going to beat this. I'm going to prove that I can do it. I'm going to prove it to myself. I'm going to prove it to Janice. I'm going to prove it to anybody else that's interested too. You just wait. You just wait and see if I don't. You just wait and see if there's anybody else around who could do something like this for you. I'll show everybody.
I'll show the world!
Giveth and taketh, and giveth and taketh, and all that.
I don't know what I did to deserve this, Lord. I don't know why it's so fun to keep me around just... just to cause me pain like this, but you've made your point this time. Some point has been made at least. 2 points made it all the way through. Almost a third. Little joke. I was never very good at jokes. Although, this is funny, I suppose. In a sick sort of way, for a sick sort of a person, it's probably funny. I won't go out without leaving something, though. Even if it's just a recording. Gave the world posters and ruined everything I touched, but at least I'll have a record of why. Judge me after you've heard it. I won't stop you. I've got blood all over the flag now, too. Isn't that just perfect? Not that it matters. Not that it looks like it's getting delivered anymore. Not like anyone will ever care about it. When I thought about the end, like you do sometimes, I never expected it to be in the front yard of a stranger. Really didn't expect it to be after falling out of a tree. And like most people, I guess, I never thought I'd die with a piece of fence stuck through my damn arm. 2 pieces, actually, but who's counting? I don't even know how I fell. 1 minute everything was fine, then it just
Faded out from the sides, then in the middle, and then...
Maybe I held my breath or something. Or it's another gift from my rag. I want to try. Just get my weight under me and pull up. Just rip the arm back off it. It's not like it's a big fence, just a low one around this flower bed. God damn, that'd hurt. But I can't just be stuck like this. But I don't think I can. One's in my upper arm, right through the back, kinda, on the outside, but I can't just be stuck. But the other is through my forearm, right up by the wrist. And if I move my arm at all, I can feel it kinda. Kinda pinched between those two bones. Might have even broken one. Why? Just why? What's the point in letting me make it this far only to trap me here? What's the point in letting me learn how to draw just to ruin the arm that I do it with? What's the point in me in making me fall in love if you won't even let me be with them? You know what? Maybe that's the answer, huh? Maybe that's what you've been trying to teach me. There is no point to any of it. Random chaos. Complete bullshit. That's all it is. And I guess that's how it ends, too. Just bullshit. And blood. And failure.
Introducing G.I. Jane.
When I left the all-white room, the hallway was empty. Just like I knew it would be. Won't last. I don't think it can last after this long, but my head is clear. A great shock and unloading 10 years of attempted repression followed by hours of patchy sleep will do that, I guess. That and a goal. A goal beyond escape. A goal beyond survive. A goal that actually uses the complex brain I still have. A puzzle to solve. With my mind intact, I can make it back north in less than a day, easily. I'm not hiding and scurrying and roaming the streets like a rat in the shadows. It did keep me alive up until now, though, so I can't fault the scurrying. It paid off. See? Humor. Everything is fine.
I don't have a picture in my head of what it looked like to peer down through a broken window and see half of a face that you love staring back at you, caught on a spike next to some dead flowers.
I'm sure glad I don't have a picture of that in my head all the time now. That would be unbearable. That would be torture. Good thing it's definitely not happening. Good thing I have a puzzle to solve. Again, if something like that were happening, which it certainly isn't, because if it was, I wouldn't have the sense of humor that I do. I wouldn't be able to tell all my wonderful jokes. Like the fact that on that day, in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't a big deal to anybody but me. A lot of people were jumping that day. A few were probably being pushed too. Most brutal time of my entire life, and it wasn't even special. People don't... Well, no, that's not true. Person doesn't mean much. Not against the end of the world. When I walked down the stairs, I didn't hear any screams from times past. There were no eyes in the shadows. I'm standing here now, in the front door. A nearly empty city in front of me. Mudmen here and there. No Peytons. No new people either, which is a ray of sunshine to match the beginnings of sunset I'm seeing here. Nothing to stand in my way when I come to retake what's mine. I carved out a space for myself up there, even with a broken mind and a shattered heart. I want it back. I'm slowly letting go of pieces of myself. I have to, if I want to succeed. The last time I left this building, I was a child. I was a child, and the world had shown its teeth, and I was alone. Part of me had been taken away by other people. Another part had been jettisoned from the window with everything else that mattered. I had to become feral to survive. Let the human mind go. It was far too broken at that time anyways. But it wasn't a conscious decision then like it is now. Then, it was a coping mechanism, like shivering in the cold. All survival, no thought. Now it's revenge. Now, we need strategy along with letting the mind go. We need to reconcile the impossible. I heaved a rock into a glass panel. I took the shards, and I cut away the matted pieces of my hair. Old dirt mixed with new blood and ran down my face from the places I would nick myself. Funny. When I taste it, I only taste the blood, not the dirt. I left a couple pieces long in the very back. Striking. No reason but instinct. I found my remnants of my fire in the park. I scooped the ash and charcoal into my hands, and I showered it over myself. Gritted my teeth against the pain when it entered the cuts on the scalp, when it coated the remnants of my ear, still raw, always throbbing. Blinked away the tears that came to my eyes from the dust. Inhaled and didn't cough a single time. This is my world. I can survive on dirt and dust. There is no line between human and animal. The only lines are between survival and death, and what you will and will not tolerate.
I will survive, and they will not be tolerated.
They forced me from my home, but they couldn't kill me. They chased me through the streets, but they couldn't kill me. They shot off my ear and couldn't kill me. I stalked their kind, and I killed them. I drank the blood that ran over their tattoos, their scars. I led a massive wave of horror into their forward base and escaped without a single injury. They should have killed me that day, when I was in the tunnels. I'm sure they feel the same way now. Oh well. Regret is a human issue.
I don't have any use for those.
We're on the move. Slow going. Not as slow as I was getting down here, but definitely slower than I would be alone. I don't usually talk and walk at the same time, but I need something to keep my head straight, and this might be what does it. Having this in one hand so I can record also keeps that hand from holding the second bottle, so I'm really making healthy choices. I'd say I've picked up roughly 20 so far. It's hard to tell. They all kind of do their own thing back there. You can probably hear them, but I'd guess 20. It's a good start. Personally, I'm hoping we number in the hundreds by the time we show up, but I've always been a big dreamer. Lofty goals. I'd really love it if we could pick up the pace here. Not just because I'm anxious to get this over and done with, but because I've started to see things in the corner of my vision again. I don't focus on them. I'm putting them out of my mind the best I can because I know that's where they come from, my mind, but I've started seeing them. That means I'm slipping again. I did good. I hung on for a good long while, but I'm starting to slip again. If I go all the way under before I can finish what I've started here, I may never be able to start again. In a very strange way, it reminds me of having to vomit as a child. Wondering if you would be able to hold back the floodgates long enough to make it to the bathroom, or if a bad day was quickly going to be made worse. I've been turning over in my head what I want to do after this is finished. Assuming I survive. Assuming I want that. Or who knows, maybe this really is the finale. My last act of cleansing. The removal of the stain that is the new people and myself in the bargain. Oh, look, there's another one. A big one, too. 7 or 8 people would be my guess. Come on in, buddy. Fall in line. We're going on a bit of a walk, but there's going to be one hell of a show at the end of it. Just ask your friends back there. They'll fill you in. Maybe I shouldn't worry about the insanity. Maybe it's all just a big lost cause. Time is measured by the minute now, not by the hour or the day. Plans for destruction are no longer theoretical. The wave has begun to move. The only questions that remain are, where will it crash, and how much damage will it do when it does? I've lost count of the forces behind me. Too dark through the night to make them out. They're audible, though. They're making noise. They're fucking ready. I'm sure we'll send some sort of lookout scurrying off to report us soon, if it hasn't happened already. It's a beautiful freedom to have set something in motion that can't be stopped. Like a snowball rolling down a hill. Like a coin drops from a great height. Whatever happens next is simply gonna happen. No ifs, no ands, and no buts about it. I could give in. Right now, I'll bet. Just give in and let things around my vision take me back under to a place in a time kin to this one, but warped. Strange. Filled with eyes and half faces. Filled with half memories that only bring pain. I could let the eyes take my mind away, and this wave of terror would envelop me without a thought, and I could just keep right on rolling, propelled by the desire to assimilate. There's a good chance the plan would still succeed. But that would be a shame, wouldn't it? To have lasted this many years, come so far, up and down this island, finally clearing enough space for myself, hunted like an escaped zoo animal. To not see the ending? No, I can't let that happen. That's not how this one's gonna end. The morning light is low, very low, still. But I can just about make out the sign at the corner. 145th. It's time. No more east and west. No more gathering forces. Straight north now. Maybe an hour, depending on how good of time we make. An hour left until the last army on Earth goes to battle. feel like I should have something impressive to say here. Something that really shows leadership. An iron will. Fuck it. Let's go.
The stories remain. But for now, we rest, we reflect, and we take from this what we can. Take this with you as you journey through your own mind. No matter how dark it seems, there will always be voices from the Umbra.
Voices from the Umbra and the Think Tank High Council would like to thank the research team, who so bravely connected to the individual voices themselves at no small personal risk. When they leave us, may their memory be forever enshrined in the heart of the universe. They are James L. Booker III, Betsy Eliza, Joe Hansen, and Liz Martelli. Voices from the Umbra and the Think Tank High Council would like to thank the archival team, who each gave a part of themselves to further the vision of the species they were born as. May the gifts they gave us be cherished always. They are Kelsey Potter, Chase Knieven, Alexander Wolf, and Edward Hoffman. If you feel the stirrings of curiosity within your soul, or simply wish to connect to the voices on a deeper level by seeing art and artifacts produced by those whom you've just heard, as well as a blog chronicling the history of our organization and writings from our leader, Grandfather Spalding, please join us online at voicesfromtheumbra.com. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/voicesfromtheumbra, and our Twitter is Umbra Podcast. Our email is vftumbramail@yahoo.com. They call, and we hear them. They are hurt, and we accept their pain. They are at their end, and we will carry them in our memory. Bear witness to the voices from the Umbra.